Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new video on Morgana. I'm going to go over 5 tips for Morgana. Now, they're going to be a little bit different. They're going to not be just your standard cookie cutter stuff that you're going to see on all the time, so stay tuned. They're going to be a little bit out there, maybe a little bit more opinion based, but I do have a lot of games played on Morgana. If you don't know, if you're new to the channel, my name is LowFit. I do educational content, I do tip videos like this, and then I do guide videos and opposition reports, so make sure to check those out as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into the first tip. Now, it's a pretty big one, especially in this certain meta where there are a lot of stealth champions that are very prevalent. You actually can use your soul shackles on things that are out of your sight, and this includes if they're stealth or if they're just around the corner, so make sure to use this, as well as it gives you true sight of them when they are attached to soul shackles, so they can't just run away. So this is a very effective tool against things like Talon, against things like Akali, things like Rengar, that can really help turn the tide of battle when they're trying to engage with their stealth mechanics. So really make sure to keep an eye on this. If this is popping up, that means there's someone near you that you can't see, but you can press your alt ability. Alright, and let's just jump right into number 2. Now this is a bit more of just my personal opinion, but what I've found success with on Morgana is generally when you're laning and it's a kind of a tough lane, you're not really expected to get many kills. It is definitely the best way to go about it by maximizing or maxing out your W first for the wave clear, as this will allow you to push out your lane and roam because you don't have much kill pressure in that tougher lane matchup. And it can also help you prevent you from getting pushed under the turret and losing out of CS from that way. So the W can actually be an effective max during certain parts of the game. When you want to run things like Q, most of the times you're probably playing Morgana support and you just want the increased utility of the longer route times. Or probably the least one that I see is maxing out the E first. I don't really see how that it would be more relevant than the Q or W in the early game. So W mostly if you're a laner, and Q mostly if you're a support. The one exception to that would be actually if you're in a lane like Caitlyn, Morgana, where you're just trying to push in the lane and try to take towers as quick as possible. The W push can really help, so you might actually want to max out W for support if you're in that really condensed situation of where you're just trying to push towers constantly, not looking for fights. So that will wrap up number 2. Alright, in number 3, I want to talk about game state and the flexibility of Morgana's build. I believe there are 3 different branches of builds that you can currently go down with Morgana. First up is when you're doing extremely well in lane, you're getting a lot of kills, you're getting a lot of resources, you're in a solo lane, you're not a support player. You can go an extremely hyper aggressive AP build and really close out the game really quickly with your CC style of catches. Now this is going to fall off a little bit in the late game if they have a bunch of tanks to protect their squishies from your roots and a little bit of the damage you're throwing out, so be careful with this. Also, the second branch would be a very defensive build. You have a lot of people that are going to be diving on you. You're just looking for engages, you're looking for picks. That'd be something like, I don't know, like Zhonya's, and then defensive boots, like a Rod of Ages if you still want a bit of damage. Or if you want to go into something that's a little bit more supportive, even out of the solo lanes, which would be the third branch, where you're augmenting your allies. Now this is going to be really good to do when you have an ADC that's just killing everything. He's like 5-0 in lane. Really try and look on to build on his strength to close out the game. This can be done with items like Zeke's. This can be done with items like Ardent Sensor. This can be done with things like Athene's. Can all really help your ADC thrive. And Morgana just has so much. She's just able to enable people so well with her Black Shield. So really look to build for the current game state and get the most possible usefulness out of Morgana with her flexible kit. Alright, let's get right into number 4. Now I want to go over 2 different ways to help you with the accuracy of your Q that are really going to help your overall gameplay, as it is such a large part of Morgana's kit. First, pretty obvious, but I don't see too many people using it in my games personally. Really try and throw your Qs from Fog of War with Morgana. This can be amplified a bit with control wards, making sure that they really can't see you, and then also with the Oracle lens to clear out any kind of wards to help you. As you are a pick type of champion, you really want to use Fog of War to your advantage. The second way that you can increase your Q accuracy with Morgana is taking advantage of a dead zone. Now, how I refer to dead zones is this wall. That means that this champion cannot move into that wall without mobility. So I am looking to get a straight line, a straight shot, kind of like a bowling ball down an alley, and you only have two different ways that they can go. They can either keep going forward or they can go to the side. This is where Morgana really thrives with her really fat skill shot. You can throw it right here where they're really, they can't move into the wall. And if they're moving a little bit to the right, it doesn't matter because you have that covered with the outside of your skill shot. So really look for these situations where people have a dead zone like a wall. Don't throw it too far into the wall. Try and lead a little bit to the outside of the wall so they're really stuck in what they're trying to do. The only way they're going to get out of this is a flash or some sort of mobility spell. So try and use these two tricks to help you get your picks on Morgana. Alright, let's just jump right into the last tip. Now, this is a little bit more about macro as opposed to just small micro things with Morgana. She really excels accentuating hyper carries with her black shield and her peeling ability. Now, really look to take advantage of a Morgana pick when you have a hyper carry, like something like a Kog'Maw or a Jinx or something that's going to be belting out a lot of damage, and all that is stopping that champion from just running people over all the time is them getting just killed by an assassin when they're not getting any peel. So really look to take advantage of Morgana in these situations. Other things besides hyper carries that Morgana is really good at protecting are bruisers and enabling divers to get onto their squishies with the black shield, because that will stop them from getting CC'd and getting peeled off of squishies. So really look which one of your allies are in the most trouble, or can you enable the most. So if there is a diver going in and there isn't really any pressure on your ADC, don't use your black shield on the ADC just because he's the ADC. Make sure to enable your diver to do as much as possible as he can. So really, this is a great time to pick Morgana. Some kind of bad situations that you might not want to pick Morgana into are ones where you have a lot of tanks and you have a low ADC. Say you have 3 tanks. You have a tank in the top lane, you have a Malphite in the top lane, you have a Sejuani out of the jungle, and then you have a Braum out of support, and you have a low overall damage ADC, something like Jhin, that can't carry entire team fights. This is a poor time to pick Morgana because your overall team damage will be quite low, because Morgana doesn't have the same amount of damage as something like a Orianna or something like a Brand or something like a Vel'Koz that can do a huge amount of damage overall, as she has a bit longer cooldowns. So really look to take Morgana into the really good team fights. We don't really have to worry about it too much though, because our solo queue games, everyone's trying to carry and everyone's playing to carry, so Morgana fits in really well. That's why I wanted to put out this video, because Morgana is just in a great spot right now. So yeah, that will wrap up my guide. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and as always guys, take it easy.